everybody, and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA show for the week. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Lenny Lane.
You motherfucker. Gary Rhodes, everybody.
And
thanks, Chipper Jones.
We start off the show tonight, TNA Impact from England, with aces and eights in the ring, and specifically, they're explaining why Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe joined the group.
I enjoyed this because, usually, I know you're not too much of a fan of segments before matches when the show starts. I enjoyed it because we finally know the reason why they turned. And other than Wes Briscoe looking like he's going to cry his eyes out, Hulkster, 2 years, I'm a Briscoe. Anyways, I enjoyed it.
What about you? It was okay. I mean, it was two guys that struggle on the microphone, struggling on the microphone.
See, I think a heel turn is going to be good for Garrett. I think he's more at home with it. If you've seen the way he was acting when he was coming to the ring.
So he's like his dad.
Exactly. I mean, his dad will never be a babyface. So why should he?
Revive WCW.
Still.
Been DOA.
R.I.P.
12 years, sucker.
Sucker's got to know. Hulk Hogan, we coming up for you.
Our first match of the night. We had the first of the championships. There were going to be two championship matches tonight. The first one was Rob Van Dam versus Kenny King versus Zema Ion for the X Division title. An old school three-way dance.
Impressive. I mean, I know we always get on RVD about not going 100% into the match, but he did. Kenny King also. And even Zema Ion, which we've always been, not at first, I've always kind of judged him, but for the last 6-7 months, I've been really high on Zema Ion. I'm glad to see him back at the level.
I liked it. I think it was a matter of the two young lions pushing the old lion to get greatness out of him, and him pushing back for them to come up to his level, because Rob Van Dam's on a different level as far as wrestling-wise than these two are. Not talent-wise, but he's a different level. You think of Rob Van Dam, you think main eventer.
Exactly, and he's made these two look like gold. And I think a lot of it has to do with their charisma and their in-ring ability. Exactly. Kenny King was a guy you were higher on at first than I was, and then he's made a believer out of me. And the same with Zema Ion. At first, I just thought he was just a little punk kid. But the moves that these two come up with are phenomenal. No pun for AJ or not, but...
Who?
Exactly. But with Rob Van Dam in the mix, I enjoy seeing this. I hope it's a long program.
Exactly. I agree with you. It's a good three-way battle, kind of reminiscent of the old days of the X Division where they would have 3-day wars. It's something that, they mentioned it, is that Rob did a lot in ECW as well, which ECW did a lot of the three-way matches. I thought it was a good match. I wish they would have opened the show with this and then went to the segment after this. But still, I thought it was a good match, placed well on the card.
Okay.
And now, speaking of a guy on the bottom end of the card, we had Jesse Goddard come out, who, if you don't know, is the boyfriend of Tara, storyline-wise, and basically talking about he's been banned from being in Tara's corner tonight, so he has nothing to do, which brings out the cowboy, James Storm.
I think it should have been Magnus that interrupted him. It's Magnus' hometown. Magnus is in wrestling. He can wrestle now. I would have brought him out. I would have made his babyface push even better.
Magnus is in the feud with Aces and Eights, so it wouldn't make sense on this. James Storm last week tagged with Tara, with a Tessmacher against Tara, so it kind of brings him. He's kind of in this feud a little bit. I hope he doesn't stay in this feud because I think this feud's beneath him. Not that Tara or Tess are bad. I just don't think that a main event guy should be
last week.
Yeah, that's right. It was Velvet Sky he was teaming with, but still, he was against Tara and Jesse. I just hope they don't keep dragging him down to this level. He's a main event guy that should be wrestling in the main event or close to the main event.
Now, speaking of main event guys, we had Rude and Aries challenge for Chavo and Hernandez's tag team title coming up next.
The second title match of the night. And Austin Aries and Bobby Roode put on a great match. They feigned dissension in the ranks, which kind of distracted Chavo and Hernandez, which gave them the opening for Aries to cheat and low blow Hernandez. and then Rude got in and attacked Chavo, which set him up for the 450 splash. And you mentioned he was kind of far out on this, so Aries actually had to jump far out. Not like most 450s are a tight spiral, because that's the nature of the move. You have to be tight on the spiral, and he had to actually leap with it.
Aries and Rude are awesome. And I honestly think this is
awesome?
the best. Awesome. And I also think this is the best. Really awesome. And I really think this is the best match that Chavo and Hernandez have had since tagging together. And don't get me wrong, I do like their matches, or I do like Daniels and Kaz, but for some reason, Rude and Aries brought it out of them, and I was impressed with the match. It wasn't a shit match like I was figuring it was just going to be Rude and Aries having to carry them to, and they didn't really have to carry them.
They did carry the belts out in the match, though.
Damn right they did, and they should.
We got new World Tag Team Champions of the World, Bobby Roode and Austin Aries. Now, Austin Aries, they mentioned he's the 5th guy to win the Grand Slam there. To win all 3 of the titles, not the Grand Slam, but whatever they call it. He's got the X Division, the World and Tag Team now. The only other guys that do it, this shows how much they respect him, are Angle, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Abyss. So that's some rarefied company in TNA. That's the upper echelon of TNA.
And he's held them all within not a calendar year, but within 12 months.
Yes.
Because it doesn't seem like Aries goes long without having gold around his waist, and which he shouldn't.
He's the greatest man that's ever lived.
And Rude with him, I really enjoy this pairing. How about you?
It's kind of reminiscent of the 2-man power trip with a little bit of Team Hell No mixed in.
Yeah. It's original, and it's something different. I mean, they've always had partners that didn't get along. I mean, as far back as Raven and Dreamer. But
even further than that.
Well, yeah, but I like this combination with these two because I like the one-upsmanship. So.
Now, speaking of one-upsmanship, I'm going to one-up you and segue into our question of the week.
Figured you're going to.
Now, the question of the week last week was, what do you guys think about the major announcement of bringing TNA on the road? Now, we got some answers from some friend of ours, and before we give you our opinion on it, we're going to read them off. The first is from our friend Paul over at the Deadly Sins. I honestly don't care either way. It's just that if it's just in the impact zone or they take it on the road, they should have been doing this long ago. Kind of sentiment is, I think what he's trying to go for there is TNA's at a point where it doesn't matter. They're not going to gain any viewers by doing that. Now, our next opinion is from our friend Joshua Adams, 1044. I love that Impact is going on the road. It'll give me and a lot of people a chance to see it live. It'll help the energy of the show with a different crowd every week, plus help promote the product. I love it. Now, what's your opinion on it going live?
I think it could work 2 different ways, to be honest with you. I think the first thing is it could kill Hardy's character. Hardy is the biggest man in the Impact zone, but when they travel, he's not the biggest man. You remember when he won the title from Aries? Aries was trying to get over his heel even before the match started. He was trying to build up a little bit of a heel push. Yeah, and still they were cheering for him over Hardy. So that's the one negative. The positive is, like Joshua Adams says, you're getting more fans involved, and I think they're going to have bigger crowds, and they're getting more revenue because I'm sure they're not going to be free seats.
Well, there's 2 ways to look at it here. Their production costs are going to go up because it's going on the road. So I think that they're going to have to thin out the roster a little bit to counterbalance that. Now, the second thing is I don't think the ratings will go up, but like you said, the gate's going to go up. To go to the Impact Zone, it's absolutely free to get in. Now, they only make money off of the merchandise they sell. Now you're going to have the merchandise revenue. It's going to be in bigger venues. If you get 1,000 people to come, that's 1,000 seats that weren't bought before, which brings in more revenue, which helps offset the production costs of taking on the road. It's kind of a give and take. And I like that they're going on the road. I absolutely love the idea. If you've watched our pay-per-view reviews on TNA, we're usually pretty down on them when they do them in the Impact Zone because it doesn't feel special. I think them taking it on the road is kind of the shot in the arm, kind of like, remember when Raw left the Manhattan Center?
It had to because WCW was such a big threat.
In the Manhattan Center, I loved that venue, and I loved Raw from that venue, but it just ran its course. And now for TNA to go national, to go have a big time following, like he said, I'm not sure where Joshua lives, but he doesn't get to see TNA live. We do because we're an hour and a half away. But a lot of people don't have the money or time to come down to Orlando to watch it, whereas they could see it now in Phoenix, Arizona, Los Angeles, Chicago, Illinois, Minnesota, Philadelphia. All these strong wrestling territories are going to get the product, and they're going to bring people in, and just like, me and you would go to a show, they're going to bring their friends with them and say, hey, let's go watch TNA. And then they're going to gain more fans, I think, in the long run.
Well, I think their first move to go to Chicago is smart. And Chicago is a wrestling town. That's, CM Punk's hometown. That's where Ring of Honor...
The Road Warriors.
The Road Warriors. But that's where Ring of Honor goes a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's a wrestling town. I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to go to some of these wrestling towns and build it up. And all for it, I'm always anxious to see a business in wrestling succeed.
Exactly.
Because I like competition.
Now, speaking of that, that was our question of the week for last week. Now, the question for this week is, should TNA bring back the six-sided ring? What are your opinions on it? Do you like the four sides? Would you like them to go to the six sides to make it a different look, a different style? The matches were definitely different with the six sides. And let us know what you think. Hit us up on our Twitter. Hit us up on our Facebook. Put it down where?
Down there.
Right down in our comments. And we'll tell you our opinion on it next week. And we'll also read off your opinions as well.
Now we'll go back into wrestling. Well, action. Tessmacher versus Tara. Non-title match. Jesse's banned from ringside.
I like the psychology that Tara had in the match, where she kept yelling for Jesse, and she kept looking like she was lost without him there, kind of like a lovelorn girlfriend. She wore his shirt out to the ring and was sniffing the shirt and everything. Kind of harks back to when she was a crazy character. Remember?
Which one? Exactly.
I mean, she's had this character over her whole career where she's played a psychopath, a stalker, basically. And it kind of ties that into what her new character is, in my opinion.
Well, Tara's one of the best female professional wrestlers in the business. Not just today, but of all time. I mean, just say what you want to about the woman. Victoria, well, yeah. Interrupt. You can say what you want to about her, but she's always got the psychology down. She's always physically fit. And her technique is always on par with, or better than her opponents. What else can you say? And she's helped out a lot of younger talents. She helped build Miss Tessmacher,
She helped out John when he was new, too.
She did help. Well, flat face, yeah. But that's another story altogether. That's why she's not where Cena is.
Speaking of new talents, we had the British boot camp winner they brought out to the ring, Rockstar Spud. I've not seen anything of him. I haven't seen the British boot camp show they did. He seemed to have a good look to him, a little bit small, so I'm guessing he's going to be an X Division wrestler. Like I said, I haven't seen him, so I don't know what style he wrestles. And that brought out Robbie E and Robbie T. Now, Robbie E kind of did his thing that he did last week, where he was running down England or the United Kingdom a little bit, and basically standing behind Robbie T saying, if Robbie T wasn't here, I'd come at you, bro. And then Robbie T pretends to drop the board, so when he goes to bend over, Rockstar Spud hits Robbie E. They go to the end. They're going to break the two up eventually. It looks like they're going to put Robbie T as a face, which I'm all for. The guy's got some charisma. From the time he started to now, he's grown leaps and bounds. Now, is he the greatest in-ring talent? No. But his charisma has improved a lot.
I agree with you.
Before he used to be stiff as a board. Now he's actually got something that you want to see.
He's progressed. A lot of these big men, when they're in the WWE, they just pretty much get, lazy with their character and stay with it. But you take a look with the TNA big men like Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan has progressed leaps and bounds from when he left WWE and got there. Same with him. Abyss.
Joseph Park.
If you want to call Joseph Park. The TNA has always been, what I can see, big man friendly. And I think Robbie T will be a great baby face.
Yeah. I don't think in-ring talent-wise, He's going to be that great. I think he's best served to be in a tag team, but maybe he'll start a face tag team. Maybe what Rockstar Spud.
The new British Invasion.
Or maybe they'll bring back the old British Invasion and tag him with Doug Williams.
Or Magnus. Magnus is a face now. Yeah. It would be nice to see him with Magnus and they go against the Aces and Eights too.
You know who's not a face? Or not a good guy, brother?
Who?
Bully Ray.
Isn't he tagging with Stingaman? Stingamon?
Stingmon.
Stingmon. I said Stingmon.
Stingmon and Bully Ray. Before the match, they meet Hulk Hogan, Bully Ray's father-in-law, in the back. And Hogan says, "I know you're a good guy." He says, "Wait a minute, Hulk. I'm not a good guy. Do you know who I am?"
Jesus Christ.
And then he goes into explaining why he's a bad guy and everything. And they bring out Bully Ray and Sting come out. Bully Ray's in the war paint again. And they're in a tables match versus Doc and Devon.
The Ding Dongs. Double D's. Doc and Devon.
That's not the double D's I want to see.
It's like the Seven Dwarfs plus one. I thought it was a good match until your boy kind of. I hate talking bad about your boy. I've been talking good about him, but he totally hulked up. I mean, he went through the whole gimmick except for the leg drop.
You know,
but it had to be done.
It's goofy, but Bully Ray's always been somebody that's put comedy into his gimmick, and I think this was a little bit of comedy, a little bit of putting it over a little bit.
How much of it do you think was kind of an FU to Hogan?
I think it's more to show his solidarity with Hogan.
No, I'm talking about like backstage. You think? I mean,
no, I don't think at all. I think it was kind of like I'm on the same page as you, brother. And then he hits the choke slam on Devon, puts Devon through the table. Faces win, or the faces and the bad guy.
Chico.
Sting and Bully Ray win the match.
Hawk Ray.
You know what I thought was weird? They talked about Bully Ray being a tables expert, and they barely mentioned that Devon is as well.
Exactly.
I mean, without Devon, get the tables. There would be no tables for the blood.
Who's going to get the tables?
Stingmon.
Stingmon. Oh, God. I just... Hulk Hogan kills me sometimes, man. I'm sorry.
You know that's kind of funny, and I'm going to throw this out here, and we haven't talked about this beforehand, but that just made me think of something. Our good friend, the Mass Tweeter, he makes some pretty good songs. Tweeter, if you watch this, we want a Stingmon reggae song.
Come on, dude. You can do it. If anybody can do it, you can do it.
We know you can, Tweeter. The challenge is out there, brother.
Oh, my goodness.
We're looking forward to it.
I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Now, after the match, Hulk and Brooke Hogan, I don't know which one was which, but they both came out.
The one at P standing up. Wait a second.
That's Brooke.
Oh, there you go.
No, wait a minute. Which one was being creepy and staring at the other one's legs?
That would be Brooke.
Are you sure Hulk wasn't staring?
I don't know. Father of the Year. Father of the Year and daughter come to the ring.
Exactly. They come out and they celebrate, which reminds me of our Hulk Hogan count for the show. We had three Thunder Lips. Not too much. Couple little segments here and there, celebrating at the end. The less of Hulk Hogan we see on the show, the better. And at this, it helped. The Hulk Hogan on this show helped further the storylines, which I'm okay with.
Exactly. You know, being a fact, this is a road show, pretty much. I mean, because it's overseas.
It gave the British fans a chance to see the Hulkster.
Exactly. You know, a lot of them, that he's still huge over there. So.
He's still huge everywhere, really.
Exactly, but over there, it's just more of a treat.
Now, before we end the show, a couple weeks ago, it was suggested that we change our 5-star system and go by wrestlers. Basically, it's kind of like what our friends the Deadly Sins do with their Ralph DeSant scale. Now, the scale, we made them up earlier today. The scale for TNA, it's 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. 5 is Kurt Angle, 4 is Christopher Daniels, 3 is James Storm, 2 is Christian York, 1 is Eric Bischoff. So Bischoff would mean you sucked, Angle means you're awesome, and everything in between. And Gary, I'm going to go to you first. What would you say it was out of the 5?
I think it was a solid James Storm.
So a 3?
A 3.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to put it between a Storm and a York.
A Stork. You can give it a Stork.
I think it's about a 2.5, a 3. It wasn't the worst TNA show. I thought it was poorly paced, and I think some of the matches and some of the angles just didn't work. I don't like the fact that Aces and Eights is losing so much and losing credibility. The difference between Aces and Eights and the Shield is still being made to look as a dominant faction, where Aces and Eights are looking like jobbers to the stars.
Exactly, and that's what's going to kill them.
But basically, that's all I gotta say for the show. Is there anything you wanted to add?
I think that's about it.
Well, my name is George Coles.
I'm Gary Rhodes.
And this has been Heel Heat.